Hi guys, Dorothy here, professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. And thank you for coming and listening to this today. I'm going to talk about 2019. I'm going to do a video forecast for each of the zodiac signs. But first, I'm going to give you 5 or 6 minutes of the year overview. Take notes. And then this will be the introduction. It's going to be in front of each one of the other videos that I create. So if you watch this introduction, you can skip it in the other videos if you end up watching more than one. All right, so let's get started. We have eclipses. Capricorn and Cancer. Cancer, Capricorn, oppositions, full moons, new moons, starting in January, ending in December. 5 eclipses this year. January 5th, January 21, see if I can remember, July 2nd, July 16, December 26. You could slow that down or hit pause and listen again. Those eclipses, mainly the Cancer Capricorn. So what this is doing, the eclipses, they change zodiac signs every 18 months or so. So these eclipses with the transiting lunar nodes, they're called, that's where eclipses happen. It is helping us and ushering us into a more authentic place in who we are. What we're focusing on is our home, security, our career. Do you feel like you're being true to yourself? That Cancer eclipses especially are helping us to tap into our emotions and how secure do I feel in my home? Do I feel secure? Can I come home and be vulnerable and emotional and comfortable and relaxed? Because home life, Cancer, and the public life, Capricorn, are two very different things, but they are tethered by an opposition. They are, when something happens on one end of the stick, it happens on the other end, right? Because there's always 2 ends to a stick, unless you make a circle, and that's all the 12 zodiac signs. But the opposition, Cancer, Capricorn, is ushering us into this area of being authentic in how we're presenting ourselves to the world. Now, a lot of people, it will create insecurities for some people, depending on how evolved or how in alignment with what's important for you. So this Cancer stuff can make us overly emotional, or it can help us tap into how we need to be more in tune with how we feel. Because life should feel good. Life shouldn't be difficult. Difficult things happen, yes, and we move through them. We always move through them. And that's where you tap into your emotions. And that's what this eclipse stuff is all about, in Cancer especially, helping us to get in touch with who you really are. And then the opposite energy of Capricorn is about being an authority at what it is that you do, feeling authentic, feeling like you're very validating how you feel. You can take control of things, which is great if you need to, but make sure you do it from an emotional place. How do I feel about this? Great, now I can take charge. All right, this is that Cancer Capricorn energy. It's super strong this year because of the eclipses. I mean, we have this energy every year, but it's powerful. So I'm going to, in the individual videos, I'm going to talk about it. You write all those keywords down that resonated with you, and then I'm going to talk about it in each house when it happens, okay? And so you'll get the zodiac energy of it a little more specific for you, okay? What else do I want to talk about? We also have Jupiter and Neptune squaring off this year, and it's a mutable square. Jupiter in Sag loves to experience life and to learn through diving in, full immersion. Squaring Neptune in Pisces. Neptune's been in Pisces for ages, so it's not a big deal, because it's just helping us to get into a more spiritual place for a lot of people, right? But Jupiter and Neptune in a mutable square, this is just enough tension, so it gives us motivation. Just enough, because squares aren't negative, like you'll read in some books, how they just villainize squares, but we need a little bit of tension to move us, especially with the mutable signs. So to me, this is a fantastic energy for the year. Now, the mutable square between Jupiter and Neptune will inspire us to be creative, to work on our intuition, work on our spiritual practices, things like that. And the square energy of that, and you can write this down too. Let me find my notes. Here it is. January 13th, June 16th, September 21. So those 3 times is when they're exact, but they'll be playing with each other almost all year long. So that means we all have an opportunity to really tap into intuition and our spiritual and creative abilities. All right, helps us to smooth things out. Now, some people might take this and just dive off the deep end and go into their illusion and go into a place that, you know, that when we go and if we drink too much or get into drugs. So drugs and alcohol sometimes can really, people can go off the deep end with that too. But the Capricorn, especially the Capricorn eclipses and the energy there, it definitely helps to anchor us in a little bit more. Because we also have Saturn sextile Neptune this year. And with Saturn sextile Neptune, that's a fantastic anchor. I like that it's there. We actually need it because it's going to help to ground us in whatever it is we're going. So most of us don't go off a deep end into, you know, la la land. But hey, if you feel like diving in once in a while into music, I hear La La Land and I think music. You go into music, go into meditation, trust your intuition, get into painting, get into photography, whatever it is. These are the beautiful creative things we can do with Saturn sextile Neptune and the Jupiter squaring Neptune. All right, and I'll give you some more specifics in just a minute. Don't go away. I'll be right back. All right, Aries, let's get started. First thing we're going to talk about is the eclipse. So we have January 5th. It is in Capricorn, right in your 10th house, your solar 10th house. That means Aries on the ascendant. What that means is you're going to set goals based on what you want your public image to be like or where you want your career to go. So if you're in business, then you need to set goals based on that. You're going to want to anyways, right? Setting goals based on your career, your reputation, and what you want it to look like. And for those of you who don't have a career yet or just getting into the workforce or in college, you're setting goals based on those ideals anyways. So look at what it is you want for these long-term goals. They can be adjusted and changed later, but right now with this eclipse, perfect opportunity to do that, planting those seeds and getting something started. What a great way to start the year. This is when all of us should do our New Year's resolutions, right? Not January 1st, because it's balsamic lunar phase at that point. The new moon, perfect time to be doing our year resolutions. And so that's the first thing we're going to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is the Jupiter and Neptune square. To recap the intro, or you can go listen to it because I said a lot. Artistic, intuitive, creative, immersing ourselves into the things that we want to learn about and we want to know. For you with Aries rising, it is coming from the 9th house where Jupiter naturally lives, where Sagittarius naturally lives to begin with. And Pisces, Neptune and Pisces, they're all in their natural habitats. So they're very happy. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you, that especially that have Aries rising, to really step into these things. So be creative, follow the flow, follow the natural flow, whatever that is for you this year, and tap into meditation, spirituality, and music, and creativity and artistic endeavors, as opposed to going down the rabbit hole of drugs and alcohols and illusion and delusion, okay? Do that. Get into dreams. You have a great opportunity here this year to really tap into those amazing things. All right, moving on, because I have like 10 slides. I did a PowerPoint, so I remember everything. By the time I get to Pisces, I'm sure I'm going to have it all memorized. But hey, you guys get it always fresh out the gate. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. Next, we're going to talk about the eclipse that we have on January 21st, and it's 0 Leo. This is the odd one out since we have 5 eclipses this year. This is the odd one out. It's Sun's in Aquarius, Moon's in Leo, 0 degrees, full moon at 0 degrees. This is visible in the U.S., so pay attention. Go to nasa.org or .gov and you'll be able to, it'll tell you when to see it. That's a great resource for astronomy. This Leo eclipse, full moon eclipse, is in your 5th house. So it will help you recognize where you're being creative, and the full moons illuminate what it is we need to see, and being an eclipse in that creative sign of Leo, in your creative house, the 5th house, this is an opportunity to say, all right, that endeavor may not work anymore, so I'm going to let it go so I can move towards something else. And that's typically what happens when we have those full moon eclipses. We'll be made very much aware of how that something has peaked, or we've gotten as much out of it as we possibly can, and it's time to move on to something else, or let it have its own energy now. All right, we can stop putting energy into something particular. You'll know what it is, whatever that is for you. It's your creative endeavors. All right, the next is we have that Saturn-Neptune sextile that I told about. Here's the 3 dates for that, January 31st, June 18, and November 8. All right, it's about the only thing I talk about for June. And this sextile is fantastic because we need it. This comes from your career house again, your 10th house to the 12th house. What this means for Aries is that you're going to be able to really feel grounded in those spiritual, intuitive, and creative endeavors, all right? So it's a nice mixed bag of being creative, but also finding and gleaning what's really important. Because we need to be creative at work, and that's that Capricorn focus this whole year as well, with Saturn in Cap and a lot of these eclipses in Capricorn. You know, it's like we need to be creative in what it is that we're known for, all of us in our own ways. And this is especially true for Aries. All right, moving on. Uranus enters the sign of Taurus, and it will now be in that sign for 7 years. That is in your solar 2nd house. So 2nd house and Taurus go together. So what this means is like this is a new way that you can earn money. You're going to be figuring out something for the next 7 years, a creative way to express yourself so you can earn money. This is sometimes how we take a hobby that we've loved, and we become so inspired by it, it turns into a career, or at least a moneymaker for a while. So this is one way that this Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, it already was in there last May 17th it entered Taurus, but it backed out, but now it's back in as of March 6th for the next 7 years. So creative endeavors, again, what you're good at, what you value, what you love, that will go through a natural change. What do I want to look at next? We have Jupiter retrograde on April 10th, and he'll retrograde in that 9th house, like he's already been, I already talked about. But here it's important that while he retrogrades from April 10th to August 11th, that we are mindful that we don't go overboard with what it is that we're trying to understand and learn, especially with Jupiter in the 9th house, because we can really go to town, sign up for too many classes, get overwhelmed with homework, try to take too many trips and kind of hurt the bank account, things like that. So that time period with Jupiter retrograde, April 10 to August 11, will give you an opportunity to slow down the growth a little bit, slow down what it is that's going on. All right, what's next? Saturn retrogrades as well in your career sector, and that's April 29th through September 17th. And as he's retrograding in that career sector, that's an opportunity for restructuring if things need to be restructured. Then we have the next batch of eclipses. So we have the new moon lunar eclipse on July 2nd, and it's at 10 degrees of the sign of Cancer, and that is down in your 4th house of home and family. So there is a heavy focus on new beginnings in the family, right? What is it that we need to do now? July is a perfect time of year for vacations, family vacations and such, but this is your focus. It's a new moon. So that means that it's time to set goals based on your emotional needs at home. And it doesn't mean everybody has family. Almost everybody has family. So focus in on what that is for you and how you're feeling. Like I said in the intro, the eclipses, there we go, this year are in that Cancer and Capricorn opposition. And so we're focusing and getting in alignment with what's important for me. So this is an opportunity for you at this point in time to really understand what's important for you in regards to your family and the decisions and choices that you're making. All right. That's what that July 2nd eclipse is all about for you. And then we have, let me get to the next slide, the full moon lunar eclipse, and that's in Capricorn, and that's on July 16th. And again, that's involved, Pluto's actually involved in that one a little bit. Let me pull that one up so I could see it for visual. Yeah. Pluto's involved in that one a little bit too. He's like right next door and to the moon. And so what we have here is this is really stirring up emotions. So if you have not by now, since you were listening to this back in December and January of the beginning of the year, right? If you haven't gotten into alignment with how you emotionally need to be, what am I trying to say here? Getting in alignment with work, how you feel, what is that setting up for you? If you haven't gotten into alignment with this eclipse that we have on July 16th, since it involves Pluto, could really get us into a real deep place where it's like, I really need to make these massive long-term change. Full moons make us very aware of what's going on. And this full moon eclipse illuminates where Pluto is as well in your chart, which is the 10th house, what your public image is. Are you in alignment with, are you finding balance? Here we go, with home and family and how you feel about both of those. Because it could be that the draw to your career is more important than the draw to your family. That's the way it is. Some people are just business people and they just work. So there's something going on here. Oppositions are always about finding that balance, finding the equilibrium in there. So make sure you've examined that by now. All right, hold on, I got a couple more here. Then we're going to jump ahead to December. In December, we have a couple of things. Jupiter enters Capricorn, so that means Jupiter's moving now into your solar 10th house, where all of these eclipses have been going on, right? And we'll have more in 2020, and there's big stuff coming for January of 2020, which we won't get into here, but keep an eye out for it. There's stuff all over the all over the internet already about it. Anyways, back to you. Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn, into your 10th solar house. Career will expand. Hopefully you've been making the right choices for you, whatever those right choices are for you. And you'll say, well, how do I know it's the right choice? You trust your feelings, because that's what the Cancer energy comes in. All right? You got to trust your feelings as to, am I making the right choices because, and you fill in what all those important things are for you. All right. And that's Jupiter entering Capricorn. And then we have that final eclipse for the year, which is December 26th at 4 degrees of Capricorn, again, highlighting the midheaven, highlighting the career sector. Jupiter's right there with it. So this means that through all of 2019, you better be paying attention to how you're in alignment with what your career is. We have that Jupiter-Neptune square, which is fantastic for helping us get into our creative place. So this means trust your instincts, trust how you feel. We have to trust how we feel. We're all feeling human beings, whether our zodiac moon sign says we are or not, we're all feeling human beings. And so get into alignment with that, all right? I'm going to leave you with that. All right. Thank you guys very much. Come to my website, nhastrologer.com, and please order your year ahead. And that way you and I can have a conversation and we can answer your questions and get a lot of details and help you get more direction for your life, because that's how we use astrology. Helps us get into the groove of things and helps us take advantage of the good stuff and how to work with things that become a little tougher, because we do have to go through those things, but we can work with it. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Blessings. Namaste.